We got a new microphone. It's like a new toy. It's awesome. Thank you, Gary. Okay, hi, welcome everyone. My name is Troy. If you haven't met yet, I'm one of the organizers of the Arizona and Phoenix Psychedelic Society. So welcome everyone, glad you're here. Please get in line, enjoy some good kratom and kava that Meraki's got us hooked up with here tonight. Just a couple of quick announcements. We'll have another event here next Monday. We're going to do this every Monday for the next couple months. So same time, same place here, 7 p.m. I don't think we've got any other major events coming up this week, so no major announcements there. But I want to briefly introduce our speaker tonight. We've got Erika Lopez. She's going to come up and share her personal story with psychedelics and plant medicines. Also, skydiving is quite interrelated. You'll hear quite a bit about that. She's got a great shirt she's rocking tonight, even with it, so please help me welcome bring up Erika.
Hello everybody, this is amazing. I'm just going to get my cheat sheet here because I like to talk in tangents and run and ramble because I've got a lot of stories. But welcome everybody. First I want to thank the Phoenix Skydiving, or Phoenix Skydiving, the Phoenix Psychedelic Society for doing this. This has helped us, I mean, I think helped skydive with it. But I appreciate being able to do this tonight because I think we all have beautiful stories and why we came to medicines. And so I am very, very grateful to be able to share my story with everybody here tonight. I am Erika Lopez, and I was born in the heart of Southern California, in Los Angeles area, and I went to an elementary school that practiced drive-by shootings. I didn't know at the time that that was not normal, but apparently it's not. Luckily for me, my parents took my brother and I from Los Angeles to Phoenix when I was 11 years old, and I grew up in Tempe, Arizona. My brother was about 5 years younger than me, and we had already been faced with a lot of adversity. At that point, my mother was abandoned by my biological father. I grew up with a lot of physical and sexual abuse, and I had watched my uncle impregnate 2 women at the same time, so I was even more confused onto what love really was. But gratefully, my grandparents were helping my mother raise me, and I found my stepfather, who became a really, really big moment in my life. But at that point, I had already witnessed so much alcoholism, and growing up in a Hispanic family, we had a lot of parties, and there was a lot of alcohol, and I remember some of my first memories being the beer bitch for my grandpa and my friends. And I didn't really understand that there was a big difference on being a child growing up. But when we moved to Arizona, a lot of that stopped. And I'm really, really grateful for that to happen. But because of those adversities, I started using drugs and alcohol when I was super young. I started smoking weed and drinking alcohol when I was about 12 years old. And I did my first hit of acid when I was 14 years old. Started dabbling in narcotics, having fun trying to fit in and numb out any of the things that I was feeling because I didn't understand what was going on at that age. And I ended up starting to shoot up cocaine when I was 19 years old. And it nearly killed me to the point where I actually overdosed. And so I started to shoot up methamphetamines because that was going to be any better. I was lost and nobody knew. I was really good at hiding it. My family didn't know, my best friend at that time didn't know. And I ended up hanging out with my family, just playing it off. And my little brother looks at me and he goes, "Erika, why are you wearing a long sleeve shirt in the middle of summer in Arizona? We all know that it's pretty damn hot out here." Clearly, I was hiding my track marks. And I remember standing there and looking at him he was at the table actually, listening to Pink Floyd, because he loved Pink Floyd. And I looked at him and I'm like, I'm not going to see him graduate school. I'm gonna kill myself. And I never got to tell him this, but he saved me that day. Because that was the moment when I stopped shooting up. 3 years later, my brother took his life. He was 17 years old. It set me and my family for a huge depression. At that point, because of my experience, I was already really damn good at drinking, and I got better. Drinking almost a handle of Jaeger every single night. I was lost. My best friend looked at me and he goes, Erika, I'm tired of this. I got an idea, let's go skydiving. What do I have to lose? So we all go, there's 10 of us, I go to a skydive. And for the first time in probably my entire life, I was present. And I felt free. And nothing else mattered but that one will to survive. And I remembered what life was all about. So skydiving saved my life at that point. And I found a skydiving community that was amazing, some of which is here tonight, so thank you guys. Because I wouldn't have been able to travel the world. I started seeing things. I never lived farther than 30 minutes with my family, so this was amazing. But we started drinking and using a lot more and more in recreation, and so I got really, really good at using recreationally again. One day in 2008, we were having a big old house party, everybody was having a lot of fun, and I decided to take LSD, mushrooms, and ecstasy the same night. Well, I ended up in a bathtub doing crocodile rolls, totally losing my mind. My friends are freaking the fuck out. They're going, what do we do? We don't know how to take care of this. They did, thank God they knew what they were doing. And they took care of me that whole night until I finally went to sleep. When I woke up that morning, everybody else in the party house was sleeping. And I tiptoe into this one room to find one of my good friends, Chandler, sleeping. And I go, Chandler, I think I saw God. And she just starts bawling. I almost died that night. Like, I lost my mind. And that's how the skydiving and the psychedelics working together and killing me started. But, you know, I got over it, started jumping a lot more, I started traveling a lot more. I ended up spending the summer in Europe. And next thing you know, I decided I'm gonna go to Hawaii and I'm gonna go skydive out there because it's beautiful. Who doesn't want to go to Hawaii, right? And I decided to do a jump when it was too windy, and I had a parachute malfunction. The canopy ran out of air, it's called collapsing, and slingshot me into the ground. I broke my femur in 2 places, 3 ribs, punctured my left lung and my C7 in my neck. I was lucky to be alive. But at that time, I was so drunk and so still using that I was just, hey, I'm happy to be alive. I walked away, I walked out. 2 months I walked around, still smoking, still drinking, still using. And my doctor goes, Erika, you have a lazy eye all of a sudden. Like, what's going on? We don't know. I go back to Hawaii. The doctors that worked on me, they have no clue what's going on. So they send me to a specialist, no idea what's going on. They do a CT scan that luckily goes all the way down to about right here. They found an aneurysm the size of a golf ball underneath my right collarbone. It had been impinging my nerves somehow. I'm not a doctor, I don't do the doctor math, right? But it was causing the lazy eye. And I had to go into emergency surgery right away. They look at it, they do the CT scan, they're like, we got you, it's gonna be a 3-hour surgery, in and out, no problems. You're young, I was only 28 at the time. And I go into surgery and tell my boyfriend at the time, who was a horrible toxic relationship at that time, that's a whole other story. But I said, I'll see you when I get out. 8 hours into the surgery, they couldn't figure out what was going on. And apparently, because of the impact, my 2 carotid arteries were actually on the right side of my brain and causing more blood to come to the aneurysm. And they had to decide what to do. And lucky for me, there was a surgeon at Queen's Medical Hospital who heard about my story. And for a 28-year-old female to have an aneurysm that big is medically unheard of. And I did a lot of research afterwards, but I had a lot of time. It's unheard of. So he was there, And at 8 hours in, they decided to put him into work. We need you, doc. And the only way to save my life was to stop my heart and put me on ice. So I was clinically dead for 3 minutes. They put a stent into my right subclavian artery. They put some chicken wire around my sternum, brought me back to life, glued me back together. I survived. I was known as the miracle girl on North Shore. Everybody knew who I was. I met all my doctors, all 9 anesthesiologists, all 12 nurses, all 4 surgeons that worked on me for 13 and a half hours diligently to bring me back. And I remember walking, no, not walking obviously, but getting reeled out of the ICU room. And I looked at my partner and I'm like, I spoke to my grandmother. That surgery changed everything. And it led me to some of the deepest healing, obviously, that I could ever think of doing. And I was terrified of jumping again. And this was my life. I sacrificed everything to skydive and be with my friends and travel. But for me at that point, 1 year later, I did another skydive, thinking that I can get back to this, I can do this, I can overcome everything, right? I was so terrified. But I almost hurt myself again, and I was like, you know what, I'm done. I quit. And I stopped skydiving. And I stayed in the community, and I still worked and packed in this community. I'm a parachute packer and rigger, so you know, I was still able to be there, but I couldn't jump. I just couldn't face that fear. It was just a complete mindfuck. And then all of a sudden I'm hanging out in the bar because, of course, since I'm not jumping and I didn't have anything else to do, I decided to keep drinking and keep smoking and keep using because I was happy to be alive, yeah. But I wasn't right in my heart. I wasn't connected. And I was sitting in the bar, at my favorite bar, that prop, everybody knows what my prop is if you skydive. And I overheard one of my friends talking about his ceremony with ayahuasca. Enter the plant medicine. And I'm like, well, I like psychedelics and I kind of need some help right now, so I'll try anything at this point. And so I went down to somewhere not in America, because we don't do illegal drugs in America, but I went somewhere and I did my first ayahuasca ceremony. And man, it was intense. Ayahuasca is one of the most intense psychedelics on the planet, a derivative of DMT, and it's a vine, and then there's a leaf, but the indigenous, beautiful people somehow miraculously knew that when they mix together into this magical brew, it becomes a sacred medicine that I got to sit with. And I remember being in that ceremony, and the main message, my main takeaway of all the things that I saw, all the purging, all the vomiting that you hear about that happens, all these hot flashes and visions and this and that. It wasn't super intense and vision-wise, but I heard loud and clear, Erika, you need to stop drinking. But I didn't know how. I didn't have community, I didn't have support, and I didn't know what integration was. And so I'd go home, and I did this for about 2 years, on and off, every 6 months or so. I would do an ayahuasca ceremony. I'd feel amazing for like a month, maybe 3 months, not drinking, doing really good, but again, I didn't change anything when I went home. I still went back to the same job, I still went back to the same house, the same boyfriend, the same toxicity that was killing my heart from day one. Since before I'd even been born, I'd been dealing with these things and trying to figure it out, and I couldn't figure it out. And so I went, and I remember at Burning Man one day, the only actual talk I made it to at Burning Man, that was in 2015 when I did that ceremony. I went to that talk, and I overheard a woman talking about her ayahuasca retreats. And I sat on her information for a couple years, and I finally said, I'm gonna save the money, I'm gonna go, and in 2017, I went to Peru. And when I went to Peru, we were in the jungle in Iquitos for 2 weeks. I got the beautiful pleasure of working with 3 incredible shamans. And one of them, her name was Borka. Borka was from Croatia. She was my size, long gray hair, didn't take no shit from nobody, but she was beautiful. And her ceremony, I remember sitting in what's called the Moloka. It's like a hut in the jungles where we have our ceremonies. And she created this beautiful container for this ceremony. And as I'm sitting in my spot, getting ready for this journey, I can feel my guts and my insides churning. I felt like I had an alien, you know the movie Aliens, where it's like in there and it's like stretching and moving around, and then she walked by, and every time she walked by, I'd feel this grumble, and I'm like, what is going on, dude? Like, this is crazy. And we started going to the ceremony, and I remember distinctly going, I'm ready. I hear you, mother, grandmother. Yes, I hear you. And I begin to purge. And this is how a lot of our stuff and things comes out, right? So I'm purging in this bucket. And all of a sudden, she comes over and she starts working on me. And I see this entity come out. And it looked like this alien, skinny, scrawny, black, shiny, devil-looking thing. And it's just looking at me, and I was like, it's you. I knew. That's the thing that I've been holding on to my entire life. I slept so soundly that night. I woke up and I wrote and I journaled and I wrote and I talked to people, and I found this small community that was worldwide at this point. These people were from all over the place. But they held me, and I had into creation all of a sudden. They're like, hey, write this stuff down, go home, change your environment, find new friends, find old friends, just find support. And that's what I needed. That's what I've been missing for 2 years. But I can drink all this medicine all I wanted to. I can do all the mushrooms I want, all the acid I want, all these medicines. I can do holotropic breath work. But without that integration and that support, that was the missing link that changed my life. I left Peru, and I had a connecting flight in Georgia or Columbus, Ohio, I don't remember, but I remember walking out of the terminal, and I look across the way, and there's the biggest tequila bar I've ever seen in an airport in my entire life. I'm Mexican. I love tequila a lot. And I looked at this bar, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I look up at the universe, I'm like, creator, are you fucking with me right now? You gotta be kidding me, right? And I look just past the bar, and I see a cupcake shop. And I haven't had sugar for like over a month, so it looked like amazing, right? And I run haul ass over to this cupcake shop. I got the biggest red velvet and cheesecake cream icing thing. It seems as big as my face. And I ate it. And it was amazing. And I promise you, I felt my pupils dilate. I felt like I just did a big line of cocaine. This is why kids love this shit. I get it now. But it was way better than that shot of tequila that the other part of me wanted. And it changed and really reaffirmed that I was done. That was in 2017. I haven't touched alcohol since. It is a López tradition to take a shot of tequila every single day. Until I stopped, I didn't realize how bad I drank. I drank every single day, from the moment I left work to the moment I went to sleep. I had no idea how hard it had a hold of me, my immediate friends that all we had in common were drinking and hanging out. I started creating healthy habits, spiritual practices. I started praying. I never thought I would pray. I was like punk rock metalhead when I was a kid, you know? No, I don't do that. No, I do that. I started working in skydiving as a parachute rigger. I packed parachutes. It's really hard work, but it's good money. And I did it. And I started working with military personnel, and I'm completely civilian. But I started seeing a trend in the military community as well. PTSD, trauma, all these things that I had personally experienced, different, but we still had an equal pain that we didn't know how to get over. And not get over, I want to say that bad, how to work through. Because we don't get over shit sometimes. Grief is hard. In skydiving and base jumping, I deal with a lot of grief. I can't count on my hands and my feet how many friends I've lost in the last 17 years of skydiving and base jumping. Or drugs, that they don't just wake up anymore. But it helped me find purpose. I found breath work to help me ground. I started doing hot yoga to physically get fit. I started talking to more and more people about my experiences, found other like-minded individuals that didn't just want to party all the time. And don't get me wrong, when you want to go party, like, I'm all for it. Do what you gotta do, have fun. You only have one life to live. Be smart about it. And take this opportunity, this life, which is a gift, to integrate what's gonna be best for you and find my purpose and my authenticity. And that's what these medicines started doing for me. So I decided with working in this environment that I was gonna work full time for this company in the military space. And it was cool, I got to do a lot of cool skydives that most non-military people couldn't do, and like learn how to delegate and tell 48 Marines what to do. And then tell 12 other parachute riggers how to do their job and watch them do their job and then do my job at the same time. Like, I learned a lot of great skills, but I started finding that toxicity again. And I realized I don't want to do this anymore. At that point, I hadn't jumped in 5 years. I was determined I was never going to skydive again. And in skydiving, there's a poster out there. It says Project 19. I never thought I was good enough to do a lot of things in my life. That was my self-limiting belief. And I never thought I'd be a good enough skydiver to do anything so freaking cool, where I can be one of the best team leaders, surrounded by some of the best skydiving women in the entire world. I really wanted to be a national competitor. I was like, I'm not that good. I kind of suck. Like, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the patience. I didn't have the dedication to myself. But I decided, you know what? I'm gonna start jumping again. And I overcame my fears. I started working with a therapist who's trauma trained, and she also is trained with psychedelic therapy. And it took me a while to find her, and I had to beg her to see me because she wasn't seeing new clients. And I'm like, you don't understand. You're my lady. Like, I've done my homework. And she's like, yeah, whatever. I'll see you once, and then we'll find you another person in my clinic. And she finally saw me. And at the end of our session, she goes, so when's our next appointment? I told you, you're my person. No. I know what I see, I know what I hear, I know what I feel. And damn, it feels good to feel. Because for so long, I didn't feel shit. I was good at completely bypassing so many things in my life. And I finally made a goal, and I totally told myself that I'd figure it out. I started, in order to get me through the training to get to these points, I started microdosing with structure with my therapist. I was microdosing psilocybin. And I had a protocol that not only helped me with the anxiety, but gave me structure. Gave me the ability to set a goal, have these integration ideas, whether it's breath work, whether it's writing, and incorporate it into my goals with the integration support that she gave me. And man, did it make a difference. It built my confidence, and not only just in skydiving, just in life in general. I figured out what boundaries were. I didn't have those for a long time. The training built consistency, and I learned to trust myself. Because after about a year on and off, because you gotta take breaks every now and then when you're microdosing psilocybin, and I realized it'd been 3 months. Now it's been 6 months since I've had to do it again. Because I was like checking in with myself. I'd wake up and be like, how do I feel? I have a rough week. I might microdose this week. I have a chill week. Okay, maybe I can take some time off. But I was learning to listen to myself, my heart, to my body, my all being. And that was so powerful for me. I started learning to embody my needs, listen to my entire body and check in, right? Honor and rest when I needed to rest. And don't forget to have fun too. Like go out and have a fun skydive and go out and travel and do all the wonderful things that you love to do that fill me in other ways other than just jumping out of planes, because that's fun for me too. But being able to pick all those little things in and really just lean into it without fear, without feeling like I was doing the wrong thing or not good enough. It gave me my voice back. And one of the things that was my medicine was singing. And when I quit drinking, I was so bummed because I thought I'd never sing again. Because I needed a drink or two or three before I had the balls to sing in front of people. And so when I quit drinking, I was like, oh, well, there goes that. But with my community, they helped support me and hold me, and now I love singing all the time. I tell my roommate, did you hear me singing in the shower? That was a good one. She didn't hear me. That's all right. It all started leading me to believing in myself and knowing that I can speak and I can live my life, and I damn sure wasn't going to just give up on my dreams. So when Project 19 came out, I started training my ass off. Started jumping a whole bunch, traveling to different cities and states to try to be on this team and spending all my money and time and energy. Like I sacrificed a lot, but it was worth it. COVID happened. Everything got put on pause. And next thing I know, nobody's skydiving. But Skydiving Arizona, we still kind of did a little bit. Gave me the chance to train a little bit more than other people. And then we started jumping, and on the last tryouts, I finally got a slot. That's why on that poster says, get your slot in history. Project 19 was to commemorate women's right to vote in America. We were building a 100-woman formation from some of the best female skydivers around the world. And I got selected to be on the team. I didn't care whether we got a record or not. They just set an 80 record, an 80 women record. And then we tried for the 97 way, and I got to be on that jump with some of the most amazing badass women that I've looked up to since I started skydiving in 2006. And being a part of that not only showed me that I could reach my goal, I'm like, all right, cool, I want to be a national competitor too. So I put a team together. Again, many of my years, I didn't think I'd be good enough to do this. I made my team, went to the national competition. It was at Skydive Chicago. And I got silver medal. Our team got the silver medal. And I'm sitting there holding my medal, and I'm like, holy fuck, I did it. I did it. We did it. This is great. Now what? I believed in myself and I did it. Now, I get to show other women and men, all peoples, humans, that when you put your mind on something, you put your heart into something, you can do it. But you gotta believe. You gotta figure out what those things are that are taking you off those tracks. And be kind to yourself when you recognize it. I had to be self-aware, but I had to be kind to myself. I had to be loving to myself. I had to give myself the grace to accept, instead of thinking, oh damn, I'm like screwing up again, or I'm having these negative ruminating thoughts or self-limiting beliefs that we all have, whether we admit it or not, we have them. And I changed that awareness. Instead of being angry at myself, I started to love myself for it. I was like, oh man, I'm beating myself up again. It's okay. It's cool. going. Don't give up. I'm happy. I'm leading and believing in myself and finding my truth. I ended up being, I'm a very happy jack of all trades. I've had parachutes for people, mainly military personnel. I'm a massage therapist because I wasn't skydiving, so I went back to school, found massage therapy, became a Reiki practitioner. I am a skydiving coach, and I get to skydive with new skydivers that want to go have fun or get better at their skills, because now I'm finally okay, good enough to do it, instead of just being the one always asking for help. And that's when I started realizing, like, these people are hearing my stories. These young skydivers are looking up to me. So how do you lead? Are you a person of power, or are you a leader? I lead by being myself. And that's how you change the world, by living in your true highest self. Not doing what you're told. I mean, sometimes you're not told, but for the most part. My best favorite job of all the things that I do is being a psychedelic integration coach. Because that was the biggest thing, that was the missing ticket and link, and finding that path and support. Again, I reference this, you can do all the ayahuasca, you can do all these medicines, the wachuma, the bufo, amazing, beautiful medicines, but you have to do the work. Nobody's gonna hand it over to you. And mama, she's not gonna be like, here you go, you figured it out, cool, go home. No. I did it for 2 years, right? But that integration support, that's how I found a way to really encapsulate the things in my life that I get to now share with other people. So talking to other people, sharing my story. I specialize in empowerment, because I know for a long time I didn't think I was good enough to do a lot of things, especially sit up in front of a whole bunch of people and tell my story with a microphone and a light shining in my face. But here I am. And that to me is beautiful. You know, I did a lot of self-study, took a bunch of courses online, became trauma-informed to figure out my trauma. How are these things still holding on to me? How can I learn more about myself and love the parts of me that needed the love that I didn't get when I was young? You know, I started learning about internal family systems, and being trauma-informed is part of one of those things, and learning how to embody and feel, where am I stuck? Where's this energy stuck? How do I like transmute it into some cool ass shit? Like, what can I do to continue learning about me? And now I feel like at a point where I might be all right at holding that space for other people. You know? And I can actually have these conversations with my parents, where before I used to hide everything from them because I was not doing cool things. Now I can talk to them, and they both told me, good luck on your talk tonight. You know, and that's powerful. I mean, I feel like if anybody's ready to do the work, I'm here for you. There's other integration coaches here. We're here for you. You are not alone. If you ever feel that way, reach out to the Phoenix Psychedelic Society. We got you. We work hard at answering the right questions so that you can ask the right questions to find the right medicine that works for you, because it's different for everybody. And mind you, integration is different for everybody. Not everybody wants to go do hot yoga. I like it. I'm not really good at writing, you know, but I'm good at typing stuff. So what works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for you, and we're, you know, the same thing goes on and on. But there's answers out there, and if I'm not your person, maybe that's your person. There is a chance that somebody's gonna be your buddy and be able to hold that space for you in a safe, educated, well-rounded way that's gonna be able to let you make those decisions, because you're not broken. I'm not here to fix you. You are your own medicine. And I believe in you. I had to learn how to believe in myself first. But every day I wake up, and before my feet even hit the ground, most mornings, thank you, Creator, for another beautiful day. Because I feel like I'm living on borrowed time. I remember coming out of that surgery going, I made a deal, and my deal was to not fuck this up again. And it took me a little bit to figure out what my job was going to be. But without a doubt, I know why I'm here on this stage right here, right now. To inspire somebody else, to motivate somebody else, and to believe in somebody who doesn't believe in themselves until they figure it out. Because the answer is within. And I'm grateful for every single one of you for being here tonight and hearing my story. Thanks. I did it.
So what's the most flips you ever did on a skydive?
Oh, I love flips and shit. I don't know. I 10, 20, maybe? I don't know.
What's your favorite psychedelic experience, and what's the one that impacted you the most? Are they the same or not? Maybe repeat it too in case not heard.
What is my favorite psychedelic experience? To experience?
Just your favorite, like, memorable experience.
My favorite memorable experience? There's a couple. I think my favorite experience was when I was training for the Project 19 jumps. I was super anxious and decided to do a bufo ceremony. And I had my eagle feathers next to me. And I just started fanning myself. And all of a sudden, I felt like I was this giant condor. Like, just fanning myself, and it was beautiful. I was flying all over town. I was flying out of the plane, back into the plane. Like, it was super awesome. That was probably one of my favorites. And one of my most memorable ceremonies was definitely the ayahuasca one. The one where, I mean, it was the biggest impact. It was seeing that thing. And I've done several ayahuasca ceremonies. They're all different. Some of them are super powerful, some of them are super chill, but it's always what I need. But definitely was knowing that was the one thing that was in me that I knew I was finally free of. Anyone else curious?
What was your relationship like with your parents as you're going through all these trials and tribulations?
During the trials and tribulations, I mean, my mom grew up super guarded, and so I got a lot of freedom and a lot of space. So they didn't really know a lot of the details. I was pretty secluded, or secretive, I mean. I didn't really tell them, like I told them when I OD'd, and I needed help. And I told them I started skydiving, and they didn't like it, but they were like, you're smiling again, so that's cool, you know? So they knew just enough, but they never asked questions because my entire life I never shared myself. Now, I tell them everything. They understand. They've seen the change. If I was to tell them I was doing ayahuasca 10 years ago, they'd be like, oh great, now she's hooked on something else. Now they're like, this is helping you. And they get it. Yeah.
What change have you seen in them inspired by just your evolution and change in yourself? Has that given them a space to evolve and grow within themselves?
Totally. My parents are homebodies. They sit at home, they read their books, and my dad likes to make soap and make his own contraptions, and my mom just retired. And so they've been working at their jobs for 30 plus years and building the life that would take care of me and my brother when he was alive. And then eventually when I started working with these medicines, they started traveling. They went to Ireland. They went to, other spots in the world where before they didn't really want to leave their house unless they were going back to the family house in Cali. So they started kind of opening up a little bit more, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
What's a part of the integration process that you find people often have trouble with? Like, is there one area or like something specific that seems to get people stuck that you kind of like really work around?
Depends what their intention is, what they are working towards. I don't find that there's one thing. Grief is the hardest one to work through. And everybody, again, processes it a lot differently. I wish there was just one answer, but there's not. Just like every medicine's different, every ceremony's different. We all have different traumas, different things that hold us back. And those are the things that when they bring it up and they say, hey, look, there's a wonderful analogy. As a coach, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor, I don't even have an associate's degree, dude. But I'm here to hold space. And one of my teachers that trained me put it in a wonderful way that I like to repeat. He said, this is the person, my client, this is their house. They're inviting me into their house. And all I have is a flashlight. And I go, what are we gonna look under today? And there's this couch in the house, and that's where they store their stuff. Whatever their stuff is, their grief, their trauma, their PTSD, their inability to relieve themselves of anxiety, whatever it is. And all I'm doing is holding up the couch and shining the flashlight and going like, what do you want to talk about today? That's all I'm doing. So it's whatever comes up for them. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Good job, Erika. Thank you. What's the best way for people to get in contact with you? You get info over there? Or?
Yeah, I've got my Instagram scan code thingy, so you can go ahead and find my Instagram there. And it's for Shooting for the Sky Integration. The shooting spelled was CH, because I'm a parachuter. So Shooting for the Sky Integration is a great way. You can message me anytime. If you have any questions, even if something comes up that isn't directly to what I spoke about, if I don't know the answer, I know Troy, I know Andrea, I know all these beautiful people here, not everybody, but I know some people, and we can find you the answer.
All right. Fantastic job. Thanks for sharing your story. All of that. Appreciate it. Just a couple of quick announcements. Next week, like I said, we'll be back here. The lovely Andrea Twitchell will be leading our group next Monday night. I'll be out. We're going to do some trivia, some fun trivia. So you guys come out for that. It's going to be a very lively event, I think. So much more interactive than tonight, which is fun. We're going to switch it up. And then the following Sunday, the 14th, we've got Breathwork and Hape, I believe. So I'll be coming, that event will be posted soon. You guys can come on out to that. We always fill that out. I think we're doing an abundant space this time, right? So new location. So for those of you who are used to coming to the Healing Tree in Tempe, we're going to be in Scottsdale at abundant space. So just note the location change, but hopefully it will be a good space for us. So other than that, there are a couple of retreat options coming up. The 19th to the 22nd of April, I'm leading a men's one. I've got one space left, so if you're feeling called to that, please come talk to me. Andrew's also leading a women's one that same weekend, so she's got some space available too, so please talk to her about that if you're interested. And I've also got some other info up here if you want to come check it out or donate. We are a nonprofit organization, fully volunteer-based, so if you guys have the means and the desire to help us cover all of our costs for meetup and websites and a lot of fun new microphone so you all can hear us and all that fun stuff. We appreciate that. But other than that, we just appreciate you guys coming out and being a part of the community. So thank you all and have a good night.